All right, here we are again for episode, I don't know, 17 or 18 or something like that, of our Call of Cthulhu Down Darker Trails slash Deadlands hybrid mishmash Weird West game. And the party is still kind of split up. Um, let's see
Kind of.
here. We have, Gustav and Vance, you're hanging out at the Providence mine, correct?
Correct.
Why don't you give us a little bit of a recap of what was going on at the Providence mine, especially since Christoph hasn't heard any of this stuff. Well,
It's
it's
been a
been
couple weeks.
Yeah, it's been a bit of time. Let's see. The last I remember, we made the deal where two of us would stay and Barnett would ride off with the other gentleman to go take care of the mining issue. We hung back. We scoped out the place because he was like, well, I'm going to go down on the mine. You boys joining me? And we were like, no. So we stayed up above and we noticed that the rubble that was pulled from the mine was in some very interesting mounds in almost a design-like pattern, which we roughly sketched. Um,
Not too detailed. We don't want anyone to go insane.
Yeah. Then later, Gustav, by rummaging through the bedrooms, came across some interesting paperworks that indubitably made it seem like either the gentleman who was residing there was writing his family's history, or he's actually been around for a hell of a long time.
Or he's into some kind of forgery. We weren't
Or
sure.
yeah, or he's a forger. We weren't sure. He seemed hospitable enough. We made him dinner. We had a little bit of a talk. Nothing really, huge. Then we battened down the place and reinforced all the doors just in case any showed up. And the plan was, in the following morning, we were going to ride back to the mine that we had already passed before and go ahead and try to bring that chuck wagon back.
I know. And if I recall, Gustav woke up remarkably refreshed.
Yes, that was perhaps the most unnerving thing of all.
Felt comfortable, welcomed, like you were home.
I believe I was told I slept soundly, I had no nightmares, and I felt at home there, and it was almost childlike.
And did you
That's
find your
what my
bank?
notes said.
Did you bring your special banky?
Yes, I did.
Pinky.
So expect us to all die tomorrow, probably.
I still don't know what the hell everyone's talking about when they say that he has problems sleeping.
It's because you never had to have an adjacent room.
Fine.
He's absolutely fine. He's never been a problem. Everywhere we've stayed, he hasn't been a problem.
You're a bedroll. You'll learn about the bedwetting.
And Edward and Walt and Dr. Gabriel, you all had reconnoitered the neighbor's house.
Yes.
Which was a fun time.
It
Go
was
ahead,
an
Doctor.
odd place. It was immaculately clean. And was it just the door that had the rough surface, or was it all the surfaces?
Pretty much everything you touched had a rough surface.
It felt kind of like not finished.
Husky.
And it gave us an odd feeling. We found up in the bedroom, there was a bedroom, we found two gold slugs, like little blobs of gold. And then in the what was a children's room with three beds, we found three silver or lead, tin slugs.
No,
Bronze
try a different
or brass or something.
Brass.
Copper. Some metal that wasn't gold. And we just left that where it was, and they only said the only indication that anyone lived there was the set of men and women, like a men's suit, Sunday suit, and a woman's wedding dress that were in the marital bedroom. And we checked upstairs. We checked the main floor. Again, the kitchen had no food, no indications of any. Lots of utensils and forks and plates and stuff, but no actual food, no crumbs, no mice droppings, anything. And then there was a basement, and we opted to not go into the basement because we started to get the creeps. And just then, a kid arrived to tell us that the woman in town was prepared to give birth. So that's when we headed back. And just for the record, the marshal made us make a roll for the childbirth, which is a jerk move. I'm just going to say.
In fairness, I
Like,
prodded him.
I said, I got 75 luck. I'm going to make this roll. No
It was a breech birth.
Not today.
More luck. I got chips. 12. I got blue. I got red.
You also got a message.
Oh, yeah. So the kid knew to come to the neighbor's house because there was a note on the door telling him to come, that we were here. And then when we got to the door of my place, I got to find the note here. Do you happen to have it handy, Marshall?
I do have it handy, actually.
Okay.
Kindred spirits, right? It was a
And
strange.
we feel a kinship to you, Doctor. Bring the killer to us. Let me our soul rest. Bring us holy peace, or bring me us down, if you think you can.
So
Friendly yet challenging.
Some spirit, something was
Scarecrow.
crawling on my door and thinks he's a kindred spirit. And I don't want kindred that are ghosts.
Scarecrow.
Just don't. Anyway, so the families. So it wasn't just the guy was a gambler, right? The guy from the next door neighbor's house.
Well,
Next
he
door neighbor
was a
was a-
farmer, and by third party telling so far, lucky at the tables. Not necessarily a good gambler, but just lucky.
And apparently he had a family.
Almost unnaturally.
None of them are there. By the way, no chickens in the chicken coop. No animals in the barn. Not even hay in the barn, was there?
No.
Okay, so yeah, very odd place. I mean, I wish my house was that clean, but I don't like the rough, sensation. And yeah,
And
so now we're back in town.
And I'll just add that one of the people who was there was deeply unsettled by the whole experience and chose to remain outside.
Yeah.
And that would be me.
Paul Larrabee, intrepid reporter, chicken
Heart.
investigator.
Well, if I
Coward,
go,
third
We will
level
call-
coward.
you also got a little bit of information from Al.
Oh, the Undertaker, or no, the
No,
Gravedigger.
Swearingen.
Yeah,
Swearingen.
Al Swearingen.
Yep, Al Swearingen.
Oh.
Let me just check my notes.
When was your conversation with the Gravedigger? Was that the last session before that?
Session before that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Well, let's see. If I can't remember Al's message, I'm checking my notes.
Give me a no roll.
Let's hope I roll better. As you recall, last week I set a new standard in bad rolls.
You had a new low.
A new level. Oh wait, no. Thank God I have a really good no, because I barely made it.
All right.
It's like, thank you. Here we starting off on the right foot. Then
Al had told you that it seemed that somebody from Etna had showed up and had sort of direct conversations with Peyton Hubbard.
Peyton Hubbard.
And some sort of agreement was made, and whoever had shown up pretty much immediately headed back out of town again. Peyton Hubbard is the president owner of Coldwater Bank.
Right.
So that's kind of where we're at.
So we have a lot of
Yep.
leads.
A
We
lot
have
of
the
leads.
old 59.
A lot of things
Looking
going
to
on.
do some research on Melville Watts, Old 59. Yeah. Simmons
So-
Gorge. Yeah.
We'll pop up to the Providence mine real quick on this one. So everybody wakes up as a goose doctor, feeling incredibly refreshed. The first plan of the day, which Matt Brady had said, yeah, it sounds like a good idea, was to basically head down to the where you had the quote-unquote zombie attack, and if nothing else, at least grab up the wagon and you know, want to throw in any remaining camping materials and stuff like that was littered there, because finders keepers when it comes to places like that.
They certainly don't need it.
Right.
We already picked their pockets too.
So once Vance and Gustav both give me a navigate roll.
Oh, hold on.
Remember which switchback and such you had taken to get there in reverse order.
Why don't you go through the Valley of the Dead again? Because that was kind of fun last time.
That was pretty fun. What is navigate? Oh, here it is. It's under navigate. Ooh,
It's
fancy
under
that.
N. Yeah.
Sorry, I tore my desk apart, so I have to find dice.
Hmm.
That'll teach you.
So I'm using the dice off the back of the toilet.
Why are there dice in the back of the toilet?
Because it's a Cthulhu bathroom.
Because every time he goes in there, he's taking his chances.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Critical
right,
failure,
so-
the toilet explodes.
I failed pretty good. I could
Let me
burn some
see.
luck, but I'd have to burn almost all of my luck.
Who is high?
Did we gain any luck at the beginning of this round or no?
7.
Oh yeah, everybody do your
Navigate.
regained luck rolls. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Nope. It's not really worth it.
Unfortunately, I made my luck roll. You want to fail it, right, to get more points?
When do you want us?
Correct.
When do you want us to do our skill check?
Yeah, I succeeded in mine too.
Next session.
Yeah,
maybe
probably
ma-
next session for the skill checks. Yeah.
All right, so if you make it, how much luck do you get back again? Because I made, and this is when I roll the 06, of course.
Right. Okay. So when you make it, it's what 1d10 plus.
Is it 4?
No. If you make it, it's 2d10 plus 10, and if you fail it, it's 1d10 plus 5, right?
Yeah.
Oh, 1 plus 5. Okay.
Wait a minute, so but you want to fail it, right?
Right.
So isn't that the reverse then?
No.
No.
If
fail
you
it-
make it,
If you make it, you still get something. You get half of the
Right.
big bonus.
Yeah, 1d10.
Wow.
but if your luck goes down, it's easy. Okay, fine.
made it. Woohoo.
Yeah. So if your luck goes down, it's easier to fail it on the check, so it's easier to recover it. So the
Got it.
system actually supports you trying to spend your luck.
Right. So
36.
I rolled an 84, and my luck was a 74, and on my regaining luck, I rolled an 8 and a 6, so that's 24 more luck. Can my luck be at 98? That's crazy.
Yeah, mine
Well-
was 100. Mine was 100.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm spending 18 luck points to make that roll.
Can you
Yeah,
do that? That doesn't seem fair.
You can blow a lot quick.
Yep.
Doesn't take
But
long.
so we don't get lost getting there.
You don't find another mine with another set of zombies.
Exactly.
Or,
It's
Or
not the
something
exact same
significantly
mine,
worse.
but it's a similar one.
I had 2 other maps prepared.
what could be worse?
Remember the gang?
Should we tell you what our lucks are up to now, Aaron?
Oh yeah, probably a good idea. Here, hold on. Okay, I got a couple of y'alls. So
I could just text. I could just chat it to you.
yeah, everybody just shoot in the chat. That's right. Easier way to do it. So spending that extra luck, Vance and Gustav, you. Gustav, I'd like for you to make a power roll for me, please.
Power.
Power.
Tower of power. Very slight fail to burn the luck.
Please. Now, I have read up. Technically, we're not allowed to burn luck on characteristic rolls.
Okay. Well, I rolled a 72 and my power is 65.
Right. Okay.
That can't be good.
It just means I'm a little tired.
No.
He falls off his horse.
And dies.
You're not convinced that heading out right now is actually all that grave an idea, and you suggest to the other two that somebody should still probably stay behind at the mines to make sure everything's cool.
A nice supper.
And clearly I'm volunteering myself.
Yeah.
Well,
Unless Vance rolls higher than my power, in which case he drags me. He overpowers me.
so what you're saying is the two old men should go and get everything from the camp while the young man stays back here at the camp.
I mean, he's got delicate
The word is
hands.
experienced man.
No, more experienced men
The steady hand.
should go out.
Well, Gustav argues that you guys know how to handle horses better than he does, and
That's
since
very
the
true.
horses are going to have to, drag a wagon and such that they're unfamiliar with, it makes probably more sense to have more experienced hands at it.
I really think you ought to come along with me there, Gustav. I could use your strength,
Animal husbandry skills.
trigger finger.
Give me a persuade roll there, Vance.
Oh. Well, that's not going to be good. Oh my God. What is the base of persuade, and do I have anything in it? 10.
10.
I'm going to spend 7 points to get that. So
Okay.
that takes me down to a 67.
So luck goes quick.
Yep.
Let's see here.
If we have to do a POW versus POW. You want to come with me. You want to come with me.
Give him the earnest look.
Gustav, give me a. What's the opposite of a persuade? Persuade back?
Dissuade.
Yeah.
Is
Is there a stubbornness?
Yeah, obviously under D, dissuade.
Obstinate?
Deflect. No, really.
No, go ahead and
Maybe it's dexterity. Maybe I have to dodge his.
I'm thinking persuade versus persuade. So roll your persuade, Gustav.
What is my
Yours is
persuade?
50.
Oh, my persuade is 50.
Shit. Roll high. 98. 98.
31.
31.
Oh well.
He's like, nah, I'm good.
Okay, so it's in effect a match, and on something like this,
No.
the match goes to defender. So Gustav's like, no, really. I think here is probably a better idea.
Well, hope nothing comes to the house, but sir, if you're willing to ride with me.
Matt says, yeah, we definitely want to get that stuff. No reason for it to go to waste.
All right.
Aren't you glad you convinced him to do that?
That's true. All right, you guys head out.
Yep.
So,
We split the party one more
Just
time.
further dividing the
So, Christopher, you've been riding towards Etna. You got
Seemingly
a decent early
forever.
start. And
the last time I checked, I made such a good roll, I was able to shave 2 hours off the time.
Yep. You're taking routes that you didn't know existed, that the old dude didn't know existed. The horses seem a bit healthier. You make remarkable time, basically. And show up indeed in Etna with a couple hours of daylight to spare. Did you have a specific plan, or was it pretty much just?
So the plan was to get to Etna. Probably is going to be late at night. So the next day would be to take good old Bill up to the mine, have him start work. I'll figure stop in and see, what's his face? Let me check my notes. Mr. Elks to say, hey, we're back. This is what we're doing. Not really dicking around much, but just go, here's the mine, blow the entrance so we can get back and call this done. The only other thing that I would like to have done is, since he's a hard rock miner, and unless the pit's been filled in, just show him, hey, any idea of what could have caused something of this formation, as it certainly wasn't done by hand. Something else did, to see if he recognizes what it could be. That was pretty much it.
Okay, well, you managed to shave enough time off the ride where you actually had maybe an hour or two to spare of light, on the evening before. So you could at the very least, assuming you can track down Mr. Elks, talk to Mr. Elks, and you can probably do a quick reconnoiter of the mine, so that
what we know what to do the next day. Yeah, that makes sense.
You had
pretty much the conversation with S said, hey, anything unusual happened while we were out.
Right. So you find Mrs. Elks in the general store, and Mr. Elks doesn't seem to be in, but she's there. She's doing general store things.
Green ma'am.
Oh, welcome back.
How have things been? Everything well?
Not too bad. Town's been pretty darn busy, really. Maybe not under the best of circumstances, but we've been busy.
How so?
Oh, well, with, there's a fair amount of grave digging done, and got some carpentry work going on. There's a couple of hands working up by that mine, doing a bit of work. So, on top of just planting fields and, gathering in the winter wheat harvest and prepping for corn.
May I ask where your good husband might be?
Well, he left actually around noon today. He did say he'd be back pretty late. He said he had a meeting to go to, and then he might be up actually at that old damn mine, just supervising, I think he said fill-in work.
Well, thank you very much. Wish you a good day. So we'll go over back to the boarding house where we stayed, get 2 rooms for 2 of us, and then head up to the mine.
Okay. No problem at the boarding house, and you make the relatively short ride up to the mine. As you come up to the mine, a couple things you just sort of immediately notice that the old fellow wouldn't notice, just because if he's ever been here, it's probably a decade ago, kind of thing. One, there's a fairly stout-looking oaken door at the mine entrance. One of you all took one of the keys, and I believe the other key was left with Mr. Elks.
Yes,
I don't remember who in the
I have the
party.
key.
Oh, you do? Okay. All right. Fair enough. Good thing. I didn't think about that until right now. You're like, oh, son of a bitch. And the pit appears to be completely filled in, which to you, you're like, wow,
Some industrious work has been done here.
somebody's been busting ass filling that sucker in. Yeah, you can still kind of tell the surface is definitely different than the surrounding surface, so you can kind of tell that something was disturbed in a relatively perfect circle, but you think probably in a few weeks or maybe a month or two, just normal old sand and weathering and such will make it so it'd be virtually impossible to tell that there was anything there.
So I'll look around to see if there's anyone here.
How about a tracking roll? Tracking roll for me, please.
Oh, sorry. Where?
I have a feeling you'll succeed.
You made it with a hard success.
Oh, okay.
Good tracker,
Sort of bringing your initial sort of scanning and blah blah blah, but pretty much tracking. You're good enough to tell older tracks from 36 hours ago versus newer tracks, and though you don't particularly see anybody, you do see some fresh horse tracks leading off to the left of the. Sorry, let me back that up. To the right of the now boarded / doored entrance.
I'll follow them for a short bit.
Okay, slowly coming around. You seem the horse tracks seem to be leading along the path that now, as far as you recollect, leads to the other collapse entrance.
So head over to the other collapse entrance to see if there's anyone around there.
Okay. The old fellow's seemingly was a little quizzical, not sure what the hell's going on, but that's okay. You get to about where that entrance was, and you see a horse tied off to sort of a scrub tree. No roll.
Ooh, barely a hard success.
Barely hard. Rats. You recognize it as Mr. Elk's horse.
Yeah. I'll call out Mr. Elks. It's Mr. Barnett.
Okay. No reply. Listen roll, maybe.
Yeah. Regular success.
Okay. No, you don't hear anything.
Yeah. I motioned to Bill. Said, "Hold on a second. There's someone I was expecting to be here, who I'm not seeing." So I get off my horse, walk over towards where Mr. Elk's horse is, and more towards looking in to where the old collapsed entrance is.
Okay. You start poking around. Give me a spot hidden.
Yeah, regular success.
Regular success. You definitely see some footprints. Something kind of raises the hackles on the back of your neck a little bit. Give me a tracking roll.
Ooh, a 3, so critical success.
You determine that the steps in the dirt and sort of loose sand and such walks around the horse a little bit like one would when, jumping off a horse and tying it off. And you notice 2 drops of liquid near where the horse is, and following the tracks in the dirt / sand / dust, whatever, heads straight into the collapsed mine section.
So Bill, the hold off. I draw my pistol and head in.
Oh, the collapsed section is still collapsed.
What? Oh, that's odd.
Bill's kind of looking around like that, and he goes, "Huh?
See something interesting, Bill?
Well, yeah. I see the signs of the old SOA here.
SOA?
Surgeons of America.
SOA.
What do you mean SOL?
TSOL, True Sounds of Liberty. No.
Oh, hey, that's good. Old school right there.
SOA, the Sons of Abraham.
I'm not familiar with them. What can you tell me, if anything?
Well, you can see that there are signs. It's got the 3 dots up at the top there. One's kind of skewed, all kind of funny like there, and the other one's there at the bottom. So the 3 triangles condensed together with the 3 dots on each triangle. That's the old symbol for the SOA.
That seems significant, but I have no understanding of it. Were they a society? Were they?
Oh yeah. There was a society of watchers, a sort of a splinter off group from the old stonemasons. But they haven't been associated with the Masons for probably close to 80 years now.
And you said they were watchers?
They were watchers.
What did they watch for?
Signs of the end of the world.
Lovely. Things don't jive with what we saw here. It could be apocalyptic.
Well, I wouldn't surprise me too much, I'll be honest. One of the reasons why I know anything about this is, back at the old Providence mine, deep down right before we broke into the cavern, found similar symbols there.
Well, that's distressing. You find anything interesting once you broke into that up the Providence mine?
Well,
As I can tell you, what we found here was certainly unusual.
we found a fair amount of wealth among that. Cavern made it a whole lot easier to do additional mining. The water was able to seep through a lot of the more precious metals and such, and formed up in stalactites and stalagmites. Makes it a lot easier to mine that than pounding it straight from the old rock. He seems to be hiding something, though.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to push it because I'm tired. My persuade isn't all that good. Well, I'm going to have to assume that Mr. Elks is okay, because I assume. Do you know what these signs do? Are they a gate or something? Is there a mystical nature to it, or you just know what they are and they just signify something?
I think it's more just a symbology of, so when any of those members of that society see it, that it is of something that they consider of importance, or at least was important at some point in time.
And little quick out of character, just to make sure my notes are, that was the sons of Abraham?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, something doesn't seem right here, but I don't think there's much I can do. I mean, I'll take a quick. I'll follow the drops up to the collapsed part of the mine and take a look to see if I can see anything unusual. But that's about all that I'm going to do.
Okay, the drops are kind of oily and fade off quickly as they leave from the horse. So there's sort of several drops kind of right by the horse. And it looks to you as though it's, I mean, without sticking your finger in it and tasting it or anything
Which
like
I'm not
that,
going to do.
it looks like a very refined oil of some sort. And indeed, looking at the horse, you see
No.
a canister that is a bit shinier and newer than pretty much the rest of the stuff on the horse. You got sort of a beat up saddle and saddlebags and that sort of stuff. But hooked off the saddle, you see a jar that is certainly of a very new manufacture, and it's looks like it'd hold about a bit more than a quart. So, and it's sort of a screw-off cap, kind of like those old early 1970s beer can kind of things, the cone tops, right? So it's kind of a screw-off top, and it looks like it's made of steel with brass sort of ringlets around it. But there's no, it doesn't say, standard oil or anything like that, on it.
No.
I'm not going to disturb the man's property because he's a good friend and I trust him.
Oh.
Take Bill back up to the front and go, all right, this is the entrance that we're looking at collapsing. I've got the key to the door if you want to take a look now.
Sure, it sounds good.
Yeah, so I'll open the door, have him take a look. So, probably have enough time so you can see what needs to be done and how long it's going to take you to do. After you look at that, I want to mention one other thing, that there was a pit here. We can talk about that after you investigate. And oh, by the way, I don't know if you're a superstitious sort, but there's a tale with this mine that I've kind of experienced this, that there's a spirit in there that'll occasionally make itself known and wants a drink of whiskey. We've found that if you just hold out an old flask with whiskey, he takes his fill and mosey's on. Doesn't harm anything.
Well, you have a flask of whiskey on you?
Yes, I do.
He opens up his coat, multiple flasks.
Yes.
For size, for company, for black tie.
Single malt blended.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. He asks for a flask.
I hand him a flask, open the door, and I'll just keep an eye out to see if anyone's coming through. And I said, yes, our goal here is just to collapse the entrance, not to blow the entire front of the mine. We want it to be mostly inaccessible, but with the possibility if we have to dig it out again to get through, we want that opportunity.
All right, yeah. All right, let me go get my tapping rod and a good lantern. He goes over to his horse and gets what looks like a sort of a demolition pry bar kind of looking thing. It's about 3 feet long, made of some heavy metal, a little hook on one end and sort of a pry on the other end, and a standard sort of bullseye lantern. He fills his lantern with sort of a standard oil. It strikes you as you're watching him do this that as he fills his lantern, a couple drops of oil get missed as he's lining it up and drip almost as though it was exactly like what you saw with the other horse.
Hmm.
And he seals up the flask of oil and strikes a match and lights up his lantern and heads into the mine. So we're gonna have to go in a bit of a way if that's all right, because I gotta check to make sure there's no fissures and such like that that would
So,
do
yeah, one of the things that we did find here was the presence of some ghost rock.
Aw. You sure you want to close this up then?
It was outside of the mine. We didn't know. I'm not a miner, never claimed to be, probably never will. But it didn't seem that it went into this mine. And yes, it was what we found here. We definitely want this sealed.
All right, you're mine. And he heads in and basically takes this bar and he's basically tapping along, and he'll pause. He seems to look real hard at things. Even right before he went in, he just gave it a good sniff. He just kind of and you're not altogether sure why he's doing some of this stuff, but he seems to know what the hell he's doing.
He's the expert. I'm not.
And you see him kind of perform that same sort of sniffing ritual, and not ritual, but you gather he must be trying to sniff out whether he's maybe catching an air current or something like that. Maybe you're not really sure. But he's tapping, and occasionally a rock will pop off like that, and he'll examine the rock and kind of look up at where the rock fell off, and kind of continues into the mine. He doesn't go all that terribly far. He goes in maybe close to about the first T intersection, so it was about 50, 60 feet down. He kind of gives a look to the left and to the right like that, and kind of nods, and kind of comes back and kind of performs the same thing, just almost from a different angle, right? He's kind of about an hour of this, and he comes out and he kind of goes, "Yeah, we can blow the front of this mine, I think. I brought 2 twist drills. We work late enough into this evening. We could probably get it done this evening. Probably wouldn't want to touch it off until tomorrow morning, but get the bore taps done."
Well, if we have the time, let's get it done. Show me what you need me to do, and I will do it to the best of my ability.
All right, it's basically kind of crappy, laborious work. Is he points out sort of a minor crack, not big, and basically got a big ass T-handle drill bit, basically.
Like an auger.
Yeah, augering. You're just going, and it's just physically going to suck for a couple hours is what it kind of boils down to. So you get down to doing that. So now we'll swing on over into Coldwater.
All right.
Howdy, everybody in Coldwater. What would the party in Coldwater like to do?
Well, where are we at?
Wasn't there some research that we could do?
Well, you did want me to look into that. What was it? My notes from last week aren't that accident, I guess. Is it daytime or are we back at night?
You turn a light on.
We came back. The baby was delivered. We talked to Swearingen at night, so it's morning, I guess. Well,
Yeah, I think it's, unless something happened, it's probably morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
breakfast.
Yeah, so the train wreck.
I could look into that, unless we want to go back and check out that basement.
What do you think, Walt? Check out the basement of the creepy house?
You're the one who left as well.
Although I think we should find the rest of your companions first.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Well, I don't know if we're in a good position to do that, because We don't know exactly where they went.
Fair enough.
I would be inclined to wait to go into that basement until there's more of us. Also, if you could check, I think
Shortly, I'm gonna put this kid down.
I was asking you to check the title and anything that you knew about the people that were in the house next door.
Yeah, that's true. So we have that, and then the other one is love to know some more about this person named Melville Watts. Apparently, he's some kind of, the gravedigger told me it was a gravedigger, or maybe it was the station manager told me that he's got some dirt on him, politically or criminally. He has some dirt on him. So a couple leads we could do on research. But that's a big amount of time. Every one of those library use rules is basically gonna be like, let's check back at lunch. Okay, check
Right.
back at dinner.
Yeah, sucks up a lot of time. So if you think you got better bang for your time buck right now, you probably want to focus in on that.
Actually,
Okay.
one thing is my neighbor's name was Strauss, right? Bernard Strauss, Brandon Strauss.
Yeah, this is Strauss family.
So I'm in the office of the town doctor. Are there any files on the Strauss family?
At least it wasn't Brandon Van Layden.
Does the previous doctor have notes about the Strauss family?
Aaron's just like, I remember that.
Yeah, you can flip through. I mean, he's certainly got, lack of a better term, a ledger of patients that he's seen and such like that. You have to roll back a fair amount of time since last they were in, but you do find a couple really older records from, let's see here, about 8 years ago and 10 and 11 years ago of 3 childbirths. Minor accident, physical accident on Miss Strauss. Just a burned, scalded left hand. And
How long ago was that?
2 years ago. And interestingly enough, no medical records at all on Mr. Strauss. Seems like he was a fairly healthy man.
So as of 2 years ago, there was a Mrs. Strauss and 3 kids, presumably.
I mean, probably just a simple walking around in. I mean, the fellow was known as a gambler, so there's only 2 or 3 really decent places to go gambling. So maybe you could find out more at the Gem or
I could ask Dan
or something along those lines.
If only we had an intrepid news reporter that could do research like that.
Well, I'm not a researcher. The other thing we could look into, by the way, is I've had my my network trying to find Mr. Tinker, whose name change depends on who asks. Who's supposedly overdue in town, and I guess that was probably 2 or 3 days ago. So I could see if got any bites. Aaron, that'd be something I could basically go by the dry goods store. I could see. I also could ask the gravedigger, since I asked both of them to keep an eye out for him. Actually, I think I asked the sheriff too. So if he's in town, one of those 3 should be able to tell me.
I think when you met the new deputy.
The new deputy.
You made some inquiries.
Yeah, so that's 3 sets of people who I've asked to let me know if they see him, because I want to talk to him. And that was probably about 2 days ago. So I mean, that doesn't mean he's going to be here, but that's something I should be able to check into pretty quickly. If he is, nobody's seen him. Okay, if somebody's seen him, then we go from there.
Okay, is that what you want to do? Your
That's what I will do with my morning.
All right.
Oh, he had a coronary. It's 100. He's stroked out. Doctor, waiting for Dr. Trout. No.
Okay, you have to. All 3 of those people are relatively easy to find. and none of them report seeing in the last 48 hours the traveling sales guy yet, but
All right. I mean, I'm not gonna go searching for him. I just want to know if he shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to go back to the to that house and check out the basement since it's daylight. It's not that far away, right? It's like what, a couple
Not really.
miles? With daylight, can't be more than an hour ride.
No, it's only like 3 miles out of town, so it's
Yeah, let's Edward,
Not-
did you want to go with us or did you want to start
Of course.
crack some books?
I think I'll go with you.
Research? All right. Well, it's daytime. I'm feeling a little better about it. I hope. I haven't rolled yet. We'll see how I feel, but
okay. Dr. Trout, it's
your neighbor.
yeah. Is that something that you also wish to do?
Dungeon guy?
Go back
Very
to
cool.
check out the basement of that house.
I
Oh,
thought
your
we were
neighbor
waiting
says.
until more people showed up.
It's daytime.
Well, we
There's three
could
of
do
us.
that. Absolutely.
I
Nothing
found my
horrible's
I
gonna
found
happen
my
in the
courage.
daytime.
I gotta say, I'm a little bit unnerved by the idea of going in there without. I mean,
I understand.
So, what,
look, I wasn't as unnerved. I wasn't chicken until after I read the sign on my door.
you mean the note that we went to your door to tell you about? Okay.
What I'm saying is, there's
We could sit tight. I could research stuff, and we could wait to try to reconnect with our, your long lost friends.
I mean, I don't want to be kindred spirits forever in that basement. So, yeah, I think probably. Plus, I'd like to find out what they've discovered. And
Fair enough.
I just don't want to go wandering off and having, And we've
Okay,
got plenty, we got
Edward,
plenty
give
of
me a
research.
library use roll for me, please.
Not terrible
So
at
for
that.
my part, I will do some doctoring, and I will in the
Yes, I
evening.
am.
Hard success.
So my plan, Marshall, is in the evening to do to talk to the gamblers to see if we can find anything about Mr. Strauss.
Okay.
His friends called him Levi.
You also have stuff to look through.
Right,
So-
there's another.
I
Well,
could
you-
help with that.
You quickly blew by a lot of the, or at least some of the stuff that you had received, insofar as
It was an awfully nice lantern. It got me motivated. It was pretty cool.
You did say you wanted some help with some of the documents that you have.
Yeah, let's do that. It says so. Do your research, and then we'll get together mid afternoon, and we'll see if we can figure out these ciphers once you're done with
Okay.
your research.
well, you probably had time while you were you were following up on our traveling salesman, which took you certainly through some of the areas that you could, if you want to spend a bit more of your time, following up on that fella, the gambling guy.
Yeah. What time of day is it? Going to the gym too early is kind of counterproductive.
Well, that's kind of valid. Yeah, I mean, it depends on whether you're hoping to find somebody directly or whether you're hoping to talk to proprietors that'd be like, oh yeah, I remember him. Kind of.
Well, you know what? Since I am making the rounds, I don't really know the deputy. I was talking to the dry goods lady. Got a rapport going with her. Maybe I can basically ask about him because a lot of people end up at the dry goods shop at one point or another. Gravedigger, not so much. So actually, maybe I'll skip that. But I'll check with the proprietress of the dry goods store and see if she knew. I'm gonna say Levi Strauss. I put that in my own head. Brandon Strauss.
Okay, yeah. Let's see what she knows.
Get my map out and I can find out where the building number is.
She certainly knew the Strausses. nice folk. Always seem to pay up their tabs in time. Mr. Strauss was known as a bit of a carouser at night on weekends. Would come in into town and do some gambling. Never anything gigantic. Wouldn't have been caught at a table with Wild Bill Hickok or something like that. With hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the table, but she knows that he came in and did very well for himself insofar as gambling measures.
Did he buy? I mean, dry goods for his homestead, like food, flour, things that my friend said none of it were in the house.
Well, she has no comment on that last little bit, but
well, no,
yeah, sure.
Sorry.
Certainly they bought sort of the standard stuff that maybe one wouldn't have in a refined level at a house. A lot of times, if you grow wheat, that's great, but a lot of times you didn't mill your own wheat. So you bring in a couple bushels of wheat and you come out with a couple bags of flour, kind of thing.
Okay, did he have farm animals that like chicken feed, stuff like that as well?
I've never been to their property.
No, I mean, but did he buy any of those, like food for animals from you? That's where you'd get it, right? These people?
No, most food for farm animals at this time would have been, silage and scraps from the table and cornmeal and things like that.
Okay, so
try to be pretty self-sufficient as far as any animals that you grow.
And what was his family like? Do you had wife and kids, or?
Well, the kids really came into town, but the wife was nice. Got to meet her a couple times. Sold some occasional sewing cloth and such like that, so she can do mendings.
Okay, so this is a sidebar comment to my fellow party members as a reminder. Was he the one who lived in the neighbor's house, or was born in the house that you inherited? Steve? Neighbor's house.
Neighbor's house.
Okay, well, all right. Well, thank you, ma'am. I will try goods. All right, if there's some kind of little no, never mind. I'll just tip my hat and walk off. And I said, don't forget to let me know if you see our wandering salesman. Still looking for him.
Righto.
All right, I'll tip my hat and walk out.
All right.
So not much luck there. Okay.
I was going to take it up to the Providence mine, but Greg disappeared, so I guess it won't.
Could have just faded into the background.
He's hiding behind that cactus.
Okay, so did you want to do any other inquiries concerning the Strausses or not?
I would, if it's getting a little later in the day, maybe around lunchtime. I'd go over and say hi to Dan and ask if he knew him.
Yeah, I got to take a quick phone call. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you get the feeling that the only other place that, I mean, I'm sure probably he had some blacksmithy work done. I mean, all the farmers have a little bit of, stuff done on almost every of the, major proprietor in the town. But you get the feeling that if you want to find out a little bit about, any of the further interactions you probably had, you're probably going to have to hit some of the saloons, gambling saloons.
All right, I'll do that. I'm not sure we're going to get anywhere with this line of inquiry, but okay. If you want to.
Okay, you start making rounds. Do you just hit,
I'll start with the gem since I know Dan.
Okay, you start at the gem. Dan's probably asleep when you come in. You don't see him on the floor.
Okay.
But you see Johnny, who's sort of not the idiot of the group, but
Does not have an overly high IQ.
doesn't have the greatest IQ. He seems, he's the one that so far struck you as the guy who's trying to make an impression on, especially on Al, and just doesn't seem to be getting anywhere.
Okay.
But nice enough guy.
All right.
So,
Well, Johnny, how are you today?
Mr. Larrabee, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I think I'm a little early for Dan. But I was wondering, maybe you can help me.
Sure can try.
I was wondering if you knew a feller named Brandon Strauss. Apparently, he was a decent feller, kind of quiet, but he liked to gamble, and I heard he wasn't too bad at it.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Haven't seen him in a bit, but yeah, he certainly was lucky at the tables. Thankfully, he kind of moved on from here and started hitting some of the other places because, well, I think Al had a little talkings to him saying, too much of a winning streak makes for poor company amongst gamblers.
Is that kind of a nice way of saying? Did anyone ever accuse him of cheating? I'll just be blunt.
Oh, well.
Anyone have any crosswords that's such that Al had to step in and for the to keep peace in the gym, had to send him packing?
I kind of remember something along those lines.
All right. Was he? Did he go armed? Did he carry a gun with him? Did he seem violent in any way to you?
Mr. Strauss?
Yeah. He was just a farmer, right? Lives a couple miles outside of town.
Yeah, I can't recall ever seeing him with a side gun. I think he had a shooter on his wagon though.
Okay, and Al had a talking to him, and you think he went somewhere else.
I think
and you haven't seen him in a while. Are we talking months or over a year or?
Oh no, I don't. It's been about 2 months.
And 2 months since you've seen him, and that's after Al talked to him. So I mean, after Al talked to him, you haven't seen him. Is that what you're saying?
No, well, he came in, every now and then for I guess a sociable drink. But I think most of his gambling, so I think he moved on to the Bull's Head.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'm looking for him on the off chance you see him. Let Dan know, and you see Dan's awake, tell him I said hi. Don't wake him up or anything. I'm just doing a little research. I'm a reporter, and I'll just drop. Does he have some deep dark secret he's hiding?
No, but from your experienced journalistic whatever, you got the feeling that he was maybe searching for a bit of a tip of money in order to maybe give you a bit more.
A little gratuity might loosen the. All right.
Yeah,
well,
a nicely very overpaid shot of whiskey or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like there might be something more on your mind, Johnny. Maybe you'd share a glass of whiskey on me. And if anything else comes to mind while we're having that drink, you can just let me know.
All right, he
I throw over
out
a nice tip, nice whatever, a $1 a piece or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever a good tip is,
Take
not
one.
extraordinary, but make it worth his while.
You gotta definitely want, yeah. You get the feeling that he
That's
wants,
$100, so I would go with that.
1 million. All right. Well, I'm pretty good at this. So whatever I think the not so fast Johnny would loosen his lips.
Sure. So he pours 2 drinks, shots, and he goes, well, I'll tell you though.
Unfortunately, gentlemen, I'm getting called into work, so I got to cut and run.
Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry to hear that, because
All right.
that's probably never a good thing in your line of work.
No, I'll tell you about it later when we're not recording.
All right.
All right, cool.
Well, we'll
Take care.
talk to you about Sunday later.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get with you later. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks.
All right, guys. Take care.
Good luck.
Luck. Wow, that's
Alright.
called in. All right, so you were saying, Johnny?
Oh yeah. One of the reasons why Al asked Mr. Strauss to move on was well, he got into a bit of a scuffle, I guess you might say, with Mr. Travers, and not that Travers was particularly a good customer, but a peaceful gambling area is better than one where people are shouting at each other.
Well, I can see how Al wouldn't appreciate that one bit. Mr. Travers, is he local or he a regular?
Yeah, he's a little bit too local now, man. He's kind of become sort of the latest resident town drunk.
Well, every town needs a few. Is he kind of down on his luck?
Yeah, I mean, I don't keep up with it too much, but he lost a fair amount of money to Mr. Strauss. That would be fair to say, I think.
This is a couple months ago.
Yeah.
But you said neither of them, Strauss nor Travers, is much of a fighting man. They don't get they're not violent tempers. They're pretty normal folks. You don't get in scraps, right?
Well, you could certainly say that for Mr. Strauss, yeah, but I suppose you could say Carrie had a bit more of a temper. That'd be fair to say.
So is he probably drinking one off, maybe out by the graveyard, out in the little tent area back there? You think?
Well, I don't know where he is right now, but
Right.
wherever you find him, wouldn't be too surprised if you find him a bit on the tipsy side.
And does he show up most nights here, or?
No, as I say, Al also kind of had a discussion with him, saying that he was no longer particularly welcome.
All right. Well, I'm gonna finish my drink, and I'll. Thank you, Johnny. You've been very helpful, and I'll tip a $1 piece.
All right, you
again,
have a good day.
Don't forget to say hi to Dan for me.
Will do.
All right. I will head on out. And what was the name of this place? The Bull something? The other place he was going to?
Well, he mentioned the Bull's Head.
Bull's Head. And that's in town? One of the buildings?
Give me a no roll.
Hey, I made a roll easily. What's that? That's a strange feeling. Yeah, 55 out of 80.
Okay, yeah. Bull's Head. It's actually a pretty big place. Not too far from where y'all been boarding. It's number 36.
Yeah, that is a big place. Is that an
technically-
inn and a bar, or and a casino, or a gambling, or prostitution? Does this do all, or specialize in?
It's a large, just saloon and gambling. Bit run down. Empire's Hotel and Saloon would be your kind of ritzy place, chandeliers, that kind of thing, right? Gem would be a nice place, kind of what you imagine your typical Western saloon might be. And then the Bull's Head is, like the whole back end of it is actually has never been finished. It's just covered in tarp, so it's framing and tarp kind of thing. So it's a bit mustier, and it's a bit damper, a little bit more of a fire hazard, and that kind of thing.
And the appropriate clientele.
And the appropriate clientele.
All right. Well, I don't want to monopolize all the time here, so I will plan to check that place out for around lunchtime, I guess. After I get a decent meal somewhere else, I'm not eating there.
No, I
But,
mean, vague food, nothing certainly great.
Well, that's my point. I'm not in a fire to find Mr. Travers, but I can probably find out more since this is where he hung out after he got kicked out of the gym. So, like I said, is there Edward or Dr. Trout? Is there anything you want to jump in on? I can break from all this exciting action.
Terribly exciting. Well, if we're waiting around to hopefully get our people back and the doctor would like to look at his materials a little bit later in the day, I guess I can start researching that train wreck or something.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I have a feeling we might need a little side trip at some point.
All right, hold on. Let's see here.
I'll tell you. I'll actually, since it's probably around. Well, yeah, I'll probably bring you up to date on what I've been doing, and then I can give you my notes. Probably a good
Okay.
idea to give you my notes on the old 59 and how it was.
Sure.
1859 Simmons Gorge trestle, poorly constructed southern line, and the Harkness train plunged into gorge. And I think it killed Jackson and Wellington locomotive. Excellent quality car. And then something
Okay.
when the Tom Cogburn, the station manager, kind of zoned out when he was talking about it. It's sort of a strange sensation.
You
It
did
just
not
looked
just
like
meow.
he was either reminiscing or he just had some kind of episode, shall we say.
Swear to God, I'm gonna kill that
Said-
fucking cat.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, "I swear to God, I'm gonna kill that fucking." No, the whistle rings. He said the whistle rings twice late at night. Maybe there's some like urban, not urban. Maybe there's some kind of lore associated with it. But I mean, they say he pretty much said it was haunted, and there were a lot of deaths, and it was 1859. So
Okay. Well-
we meet up, and I basically kind of get through my journalistic notebook, and I tell him what I know.
Excellent. And I will do my research. Was that the previous roll I made, or should I make another one?
That is the previous roll you made.
Excellent. That's what I thought. All right. Well, I'll be doing that for right now, and then I'll share it with them when we get back together, which we haven't done yet. So, yeah.
Maybe around dinner time or something.
Yeah.
Grab a meal.
Okay, so hopping to Vance and now slightly absentee Gustav. Well, I guess no, I got that's right. I split you guys. That's right.
Yeah.
So Vance and Matt,
Who's the big spoon?
you make your way to the whatever spur mine, whatever it was, the where the incident occurred. Took you a little bit longer than you had hoped to find it, but you did make it there. And let's see. There was two tents. There was a wagon. Obviously, several corpses now. So when you show up, some of the corpses have moved from when you last remember, but they still seem properly dead. I want you to give me a scan roll, maybe.
You remember correctly, we burnt the corpses.
Yes, actually, we did.
Oh, that's right, you did. Okay, yeah, well, it's still appropriate here.
Let's see. That's a 12 out of 58. It's a hard.
Okay, so you
I
definitely
figured it's
determined.
animals that probably drag the bodies around.
Yeah, you find that there was definitely animal tracks. A tracking roll. There you go. That would be good.
Yeah. No, I'm distracted by that shiny rock over there.
Oh yeah, there are shiny rocks and such, like some thingamabobbers.
That is an occupational hazard.
Let's see if I can make the roll from Etna.
Sometimes.
I mean, an 88 is a failure.
So yeah, there's definitely some tracks in the rather hard soils around here, and a lot of it's just flat stone. Um, old river went through who knows how many centuries ago, then got diverted elsewhere, or just dried up or what have you. Um, but yeah, it looks like some of the skeletons and sort of bits of charred flesh and all. You definitely get the some has been gnawed on. Rib cages maybe have been pulled out from the fire pit, that sort of thing. The horses more so. Um, I included in that sort of search and scan. You noticed also that your horse seems to have lost your trail. At least you have not noticed the horse in a while.
Mm.
If you recall, the last time you saw the horse was about here, and kind of stopped following you past here. So
Maybe it doesn't like this area.
something to take note of.
Or the horse decomposed.
Now you did bring along, one nice thing about Gustav staying at the Providence mine is it freed up an additional horse to attach to um, the wagon. So, not that you couldn't have just used your two horses and attached it to the wagon and ridden the wagon, but nonetheless. Going through the wagon and the tents, you get the feeling that something's been through them as well.
And besides us,
Well, yeah, besides you and besides maybe whatever a raccoon or whatever, not raccoon, whatever would be a coyote, having just kind of looking for a warm flannel shirt to take back to its den or whatever. You get the feeling that it has had a going through to an extent. Give me a no roll.
let's see. That is a hard success.
Wow. Okay. When you're in the tent that you had searched previous, you weren't going through the tent first time round, whatever, 2 days ago, to snatch up everything, right? You were just looking for maybe some personal items that would identify who these people were, and maybe if there was a gigantic bag of gold, you might have been tempted. But outside of that, you left everything pretty much as is. Going through sort of a hazy mental Rolodex of what was in this tent before and what is now in this tent before, you notice that everything that was made out of sort of pressed metal, so tins, that sort of thing, is now missing.
I'll remark that to Matt.
All right, Matt comes over and kind of looks around. Huh.
Like somebody came through and just grabbed everything that was metal.
Relatively worthless metal, though.
Are the shovels and everything still in the?
Oh, yeah. You go over there. The only shovels that you notice missing, kind of writing off of your hard no roll, would be maybe one or two of the smaller trowels. Sort of those thin, almost garden knives, kind of stones that you kind of pick away at sort of nooks and crannies. But like picks, heavy shovels, that kind of stuff, it's all there.
So the hard iron is there, but any kind of cheap metal, soft steel, tin, that type of stuff is missing.
Right.
Huh. Well, you think we should? What do you think? Should we take the, break the camp and take it all, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, we took all this effort to get out of here. Now I sound like the guy from Diablo 1. Welcome.
All right.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Well, let's
No, that's Aaron's default.
Yeah.
let's break one tent at a time.
Okay, you start breaking the tents. Easy enough to do. You're pretty much these are mining tents. So instead of doing the stakes in the ground on each corner kind of thing, there's actually a wooden rods that kind of hold the outer edges out. That way you can do it on hard surfaces and not have to try to tap into stone and that sort of thing.
A frame tent.
Yeah, a little bit more to trip over possibly, but in general, much more convenient to set up. And packing up again, you're not finding anything that's of astounding value, but certainly of value, certainly to any miner, and everything counts more or less correctly insofar as basically 6 sets of overall mining equipment and such. Again, nothing heavy, all depending on basically the brute force of arms and legs for the most part. And you also you find a little bit of panning stuff as well to work the creek. So you kind of get the feeling this is sort of an operation that kind of maybe not so much claim jump, but maybe did a little bit of claim jump and just sort of
Checking to see if there was anything available.
Yeah,
Opportunistic.
Yeah.
Opportunistic mining. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. Which, of course, you think that opportunistic mining has probably cropped up quite a bit recently since the ghost rock has started to seemingly form in areas that were in previously played out mines and such like that. So there's probably quite a bit of these sort of roving prospectors at this point. So also again, fairly valuable stuff insofar as you find one set of fairly decent leatherworking knives and that sort of thing. Basically all the kind of goods and such that you would need for a prolonged camping setup. Light axes to make shelter beyond that of tents, and a relatively thick cast iron metal cooking pots, that kind of stuff. Stuff that you could certainly turn around, sell for you don't know exactly. You're not a merchant per se, but $20, you probably figure it's a couple $100 worth of stuff, and that doesn't include the wagon itself, which is
Expensive.
quite valuable, just as a car would be today, relatively speaking. So absolutely worth the effort of doing it. But it takes you a little while to break it all down, kind of like that, and I assume you pretty much just pack it all up into the actual wagon.
Yeah.
And you finish within a few hours. Probably about noon, and a bit hungry. A couple hours ride back. You could make food here, or just go a little hungry and eat when you get back.
Go ahead and eat hardtack, as it would be.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough. Oh gosh.
Make a digestion roll.
One of my 2 dice just disappeared into a sea of wires.
Oh God, that's words.
There we go. You see, one thing that you notice that your compatriot that's with you, he's not drinking any water outside of water from his canteen. And he doesn't carry around one of those really big, like, half-gallon water flasks, or even one. He's got a relatively small, maybe a bit over a pint, maybe a little bit less than a quart of water. It's not a lot. For being out in the desert and stuff. But then again, he's out in the desert and stuff, and people get used to less water. The more
I'll ask him if he needs any from my canteen. I probably have one of those big ass canteens.
Yeah, he takes what appears to be a decent swig from his vessel and says, "No, I got plenty." And make a listen roll.
Ooh, no, I'm eagle-eyed. Damn.
Had them tin ears.
No, I had to give up the ears for the
Sake of the minute.
The power of invisibility.
There it is. Yeah, keen vision. I took keen vision instead. All right, so listen. Oh. Well, it's a success. It's 67 out of 72.
Okay, you hear very little water in that canteen as he, kind of you hear kind of slursh, but to your ear that's a pretty dry canteen.
All right. He only drinks his own water. Either that or it's not really water.
I was thinking that.
It's recycling.
So you eat your hardtack and bit of water, and I guess you had the horses already hitched up, so
Yep.
you start pulling your way out
Back.
of the ass end of the Hidden Box Canyon back up to Providence Mine. Okay.
So just as an aside, you mentioned you wanted to stop at 9, so we're at 8:49 right now.
Right.
How you feeling?
Christopher, let's go to you real quick. So several hours of grinding, annoying ass work later.
I will never be a hard rock miner.
That's right. You were going, well, thank the Lord I chose the occupation that you have.
Things is so much easier.
But you basically punch about six holes, some much lower than you'd think, but the old guy kind of points out, kind of not really lecturing you or whatever, but he's like, see, this one's going to blow just before these two blows. That'll loosen up this, and blah 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 blah. You don't really give a shit.
No, as I'm never going to be a miner.
Right, but you get the impression.
Professional pride. I understand it.
He's like, oh, you're like, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, okay, great. And kind of steps back, kind of dust off. Lights up the lantern. Well, lantern's always been lit, but whatever. Kind of goes, well, do you want to fuse it now and go ahead and blast it, or?
Let's wait until morning so I can notify the town folk what we're doing, so they're not surprised by what's going to happen. Besides, I don't know about you. I've got a powerful thirst and I'm pretty hungry. And well, as you can see, this isn't necessarily the cleanest work around. So I could use a good meal, a good drink, and a good shower. It seems like every time I come up here, I end up dirtier than.
Yeah, well, it's the first 100,000 twists that get to you. After that, it's not so bad. But yeah, I could use some victuals too.
So I think the goal is, head back out, lock up the mine on the way back to the town. Circle back to where I saw Mr. Elk's horse to see if it's still there, If not,
It
just
is
head
not
back.
there.
What?
It is not there.
And head back into town.
Okay, you head back into town. Nothing peculiar along the way. Do you head pretty much straight to the boarding house?
Yeah, boarding house, because I want to get clean before we go out and get a meal and a drink, and I'm assuming Bill's the same.
Okay. And darn it, forgotten her name already. The proprietress. The proprietress. She comments about your dusty states and suggests maybe
AKA, you're not bringing this crap inside my house. Shower outside.
well, she asks, maybe she goes and gets 2 wet towels for you to maybe just do sort of an initial kind of whatever up, and she'll
Yes, ma'am.
she'll actually get some water, heat up for a bath for y'all, and she already has food ready. She's like, I understand you want to be good and clean for dinners, but it's going to take a while to heat up the water, so.
Yeah. Now that we've dusted off, partake of the feast that she has provided before we bathe.
Fair enough. You're pretty focused on refueling your body. You do notice that the old fellow he does eat fairly well. You don't notice one way or the other concerning how much water he drinks down or not, though.
Wouldn't know to pay attention to that in the first place.
Right. So, okay. So, okay, cool. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to leave that bit there. All right. This next bit's gonna take a bit of time, I think. So, so Edward, the thing I shot you, I of course have my own copy of it.
I've copied it in the notes.
Okay, good. So we're gonna have to play off of that next week, I think, because I'm really tired at this point. So sorry it was a bit short, but I think hey, you know what? We're not ending on a cliffhanger.
True.
Kidding? I gotta go into that big scuzzy saloon. That's a cliffhanger.
Well, there's a bit of a wrap up that we have to do with Gustav up in Providence mine, but that's okay. So I'll quit the recordings from now here. So let's see here.